This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Hey, welcome once again, Fletch Nation. So glad to have you with us as we come to you from the state capitol. And here on Coursey Boulevard, it's the old school barbecue smokehouse. Hi, Roy. How are you?
Kevin, how you doing?
Pretty well, pretty well. It's been an interesting week, both in the state of Louisiana and outside.
Yeah, it has. A lot of activity going on, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Outside, of course, we have a Silicon Bank failure.
I was going to see if you wanted to talk about that right up front.
And a New York bank failure.
Yep. So two good-sized banks. I mean, we're talking billion dollar banks.
Yeah, well over 200 billion.
And then President Biden goes on TV and basically his response to those two banks failing
is a bailout.
Is a bailout and tell us.
But Judge Kevin, it's not a taxpayer bailout. You see, what we're going to do here is we're going to assess the other banks for the problem out there. All of the other banks.
So the other banks who haven't failed are going to have to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's if these banks fail, then we'll assess the other banks, and you see that way the taxpayers don't have to pay for it. Except, who do you think's going to pay for it? Because you think those banks are just going to pay the assessment and not get their money?
They'll pass that on to their depositors, their customers.
You mean like consumers?
Yes.
Yeah. And the bailout was interesting because this bank was making a fortune in the Silicon Valley.
Right. Their depositors weren't folks like you and me. You might have $25,000, $34,000 in the bank. These people were in the hundreds of millions of dollars in their accounts.
Probably billions. I mean, and they obviously forgot that, you only insured up to $250,000. And of course, these people were unsophisticated business people because they were only Silicon Valley people. Mm-hmm. And it's a very woke banks. Mm-hmm. They were all up into DIE.
Uh-huh. DIE and ESG. Yeah, all that good stuff. All those good initials.
Diversity, inclusion, equity. A lot
all
of
that
people
good
say
21st century stuff.
Yeah, really stuff. A lot of people say it DEI. I said DIE. Because if you go woke,
you go broke.
You go broke.
I'm sorry. I know that's just a stupid rhyme, but it sure has proven true in a lot of cases.
It's proven true in a lot of cases. So, but the big thing is that the bank in California had, it had sit there, and apparently the red lights were flashing, the red waves were waving, and everything else, and nobody seemed to care for a long time, for a couple of months. And then if we find out that it has a very intimate relationship with Governor Newsom's family, so the bank
oh my,
and so on and so forth. But the problem is that the bank was taking all this money in and investing it in government bonds at 1.8%. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what they were doing. Well, what intervened there? Well, inflation rate was no longer at 1.8%. It was at 9%. Mm-hmm. And 7 and whatever month you're looking at, whatever they want to lie about, it's high. And so the depositors said, gee, we kind of don't want to invest in 1.8%. Maybe the investors, maybe what we'll do is we'll take our money somewhere else. So let's go get our money.
Yep.
And go put it in something else.
Run on the bank.
And so they had a run on the bank. And it's a direct reflection of the situation we have with inflation, and the interest rates went up 5-6%. So you got money invested at 1.8, and interest is being paid at 6, 5, 6, what's going to happen? You're going to go get your money.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where we are. And
that's why the president was on TV looking like Chip Dillard from Animal House, going, "All is well, all is well.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about it." And as soon as he said that, the New York bank failed.
Yep.
Signature Bank.
Yep.
And I mean,
like it was on cue.
Now here's one of the things that is worth pointing out about what's happened as a result of that, and it gets to something else that never let a crisis go to waste. There was Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff for President Clinton. What's happened now? People have gone to smaller and regional banks. They've taken their money out. And where did they send that money to? They sent it to big banks.
Mm-hmm.
J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo,
Chase,
4 or 5 really mega banks in the country, and deposits are poured into those banks. Now, what is that? What do we see in there? What's happening there? What does that mean? Well, it means that the concentration of money is occurring toward the center, toward a very small number of operations. Regional banks, because they are having this kind of thing, so they get stressed. But the big banks are okay.
It's kind of like the same thing that happens in retail when the big box stores come in, the mom and pops all go to seed.
That's right. But there's a bigger thing here. So if you have all of the money concentrated in 3 or 4 big banks, what does that mean, given the nature of the world we live in and the relationship of government to business? What does that mean? What does that make it easier to do?
Collapse the whole system?
Well, yeah, that makes it, but there's another thing that makes it easier to do. It makes it easier to control depositors.
See where you're going.
Okay. And the way that you control depositors is you say, look, everybody, you got your money in these big old banks. What we're going to do is we're going to digital currency. Now, why would somebody want to go to digital currency?
Well, it's so convenient, and you just tap your card.
It's very, very convenient, and you don't have to worry about walking around with money or having money under your mattress or anything like that.
That's right.
Of course, the IRS can see that very quickly. And nobody's saying about evading the IRS.
Yeah, they'll know every dime you spend anywhere on anything.
No, even worse than that. Called a social credit. What is your social credit score? What do you mean? Well, how much electricity do you use? Well, we can just find out right here.
What's your carbon footprint?
What's your carbon footprint? How much do you spend on gasoline? Where are you traveling to? What do you buy for your kids? What do you do for this? What do you do for that?
How'd you vote in the last election?
Could be. But the point is all of a sudden, what do you say on social media? What do you say? Let's just correlate this to the social media content of if he uses or she uses it. What do they say? Oh, I see. They're kind of right-wingers. Well,
that means they're dangerous domestic terrorists.
That's exactly right.
Put them on the watch list.
And you know, we're going to have to shut that down. And when we come right back, because we got to shut down to go make some money, we'll be right back.
Look at that.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
You could be driving a...
Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders?
Premier Pest Services.
When last we left Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher, we were discussing, well, I think that there's more to these two big bank failures than meets the eye.
Well, let's put it this way. If you take the position that no crisis should go to waste, it very easily could be more to it than that. I didn't paint a picture of a conspiracy like it's on purpose, that the banks failed on purpose. Mm-hmm. I think the banks fail for the but when you start watching the flow of money into big banks, into centralized banks, into the biggest institutions in this country with the most money, it becomes quite obvious that some scheming scumbag could actually take that and use that in a way to, and my point is that if you want to find scheming scumbags, go to Washington and
just
walk
look around.
Look around.
Just look around.
With all due respect. So
I love it when you throw somebody a big insult and then say, with all due respect. Oh, it's crazy.
But anyway, that's...
No, but I think that there is real concern that other banks will have runs now. People will get nervous and they'll want to get their money.
And the banks that will be under that pressure, that will become banks that are have a certain screech to them, mm-hmm. will be your smaller and your regional banks, unless they stay or have stayed out of the bond market. Now, personally, there's a personal strategy, and I'm not a money manager, and I wouldn't do it. But I'm just a regular old guy trying to get by. The point of it is that the way you beat the inflation thing right now is, the way I do it is, I don't buy. Mm-hmm. I cut back everything. Mm-hmm. And that way, I don't feed into the inflationary cycle.
Right.
And I don't experience much inflation. We experience it in energy, and if you in food, and if you're smart, that's what you
concentrate your income or your disposable on.
Yeah, and I know that's real conservative, folks, and I get it, but that's just Fletcher.
It's also what some people call going into survival mode. You just pare back and just cover the essentials.
That's right. And then the other thing is, if you have some money, you don't have to put it into risk. You go put it into 4 and 5% money markets or money market accounts that are very safe, and you go there and you get 4 or 5, and some people say, well, inflation's still beating you by 3%. Yeah, well, maybe it is, but if I'm very careful with my money, it's not. And I would much rather, at my age, have less risk and know that the money's there. Right? But when you're a big swinger and a big time dude, you're looking for that. You're looking for that big hit.
Right. The thing that concerns me about all of this is that we've heard from a lot of political types about this, president included. But maybe I'm just so cynical, but I just get the impression that nobody that matters, nobody that can do anything, really cares about. They want to give the impression that they care or that they're doing something, but they don't really want to.
The people that matter, that can do something about it, are people that are already paid. I don't mean to be ugly and cynical, but I'm going to say it. Look, the bank in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley Bank, yeah.
The governor, Newsom, 3 of his private wineries have been clients of SVB. One of the SVB executive, one of the bank executives, sits on the board of his wife's California Partners project. One of the executives in the bank gave him $100,000 donation.
Wow.
So he was wrapped up with that. He's okay. And
did he empty all of his accounts?
Yeah, or did he lose all of his money? That's what I want to know. Anything over $250,000.
And did his Aunt Nancy have any money in SVB?
Well, you probably would be a good question.
Because that Nancy Pelosi's his aunt.
And the other thing is that these were all people that were These were people that were into this institution, was into the whole agenda, the Democratic agenda. The bank in New York was deeply involved in this Democratic agenda. And so all of a sudden, we're not going to bail anybody out. They're bailing them out. Why is that? Why would they do that? Well, I think it's pretty simple. They of the same ilk.
Yeah.
Now, under Trump, there were 3 or 4 regional bank failures in red states when he was president. I didn't see anybody upset or uptight or concerned or bailing them out or anything else. Nobody talked about it. It's not just that nobody can do it, that the people that can do something care. It's that they do care, but they only care for their people.
Fellow travelers?
Fellow travelers, right. It's groupthink gone nuts. It's partisanship gone crazy.
Well, who was it that said everything is politics? Everything is politics.
It is everything.
And it is.
Yeah, it is.
Business is politics.
Everything
Entertainment's
is
politics. Politics is politics.
But we've never had, it's always been politics, but we've never had this partisan separation that we have now. So anyway, the money's rushing to the big banks. It affords the government the ability to do all kinds of things that this digital money thing is being tried out in Nigeria. They're into digital money, and they're having riots down there over digital money because people want their money.
Yeah.
They don't want digital.
I don't blame them.
I don't either. They don't want digital. They want their money.
There's still a healthy number of us that don't even want an ATM card.
And
they want to deal with cash.
And the reason for that is because that lends people the ability to be free. That when you have and you can, and it's tangible and you can see, it lends some sense of freedom to you. Okay, some psychological sense of freedom. And that is the last thing certain people in this world want people to have, is freedom.
Yeah, freedom, liberty, independent thought. There's
all that kind of goofy stuff,
yeah,
right?
Those are sad, outmoded ideas that we need to move on from,
Yeah.
Roy, for the greater good of the whole.
So anyway, so that seems to be the big story. Now the politics of this of things is that there's all kind of presidential things going on and all kind of gubernatorial things going on. So when we come back in a couple of seconds, we're going to talk about politics and what all this entails and what's going on and what the future looks like with respect to all of that. And then we'll talk about China and its connection to the Biden family.
Fletch Nation returns 3 minutes, right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Back with Fletch Nation. Thank you so much for watching us, and we're so glad to have you with us. We're on cable systems all over the state. We're at Cox in New Orleans, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. We're on Allen Cable. I believe we're on Spectrum.
Morgan City, yeah.
And we
maybe AT&T Universe.
Yeah, AT&T Universe. Yeah, forgot to mention them. Our good sir. What are they? And I think we're trying to work on Rev.
Yeah.
You ever hear of Rev?
No.
Rev is it's a fiber optic network.
Oh, we're on that too. Let's get over Rev.
Detail. Let's go Rev. Let's talk a little state politics. This is not the governor's race, which we're going to get to in a minute, but I think it bears mentioning. The man who's
definitely bears mentioning.
Man that's been the insurance commissioner since 2006 announced this week that he will definitely not run.
Right.
for re-election to another term.
I think he's had about enough of the problems in this state as he can handle.
And I think that Jim Donelon has, some people say he's been part of the problem as far as the insurance atmosphere. I think that my personal feeling is that I think that he's done the best that he could in coping with a very unstable atmosphere.
Well, it's this insurance thing is so out of control. The homeowner's insurance, the car insurance, all of it is out of control. And every year, 2 years ago, Lobby passed a reform on insurance and said, oh no, this is going to drive down rates. They promised.
Didn't do a damn thing.
Promised that it would drive down rates. Well, a friend of ours who was extremely skeptical wrote an editorial about it, said in 2 years I'm going to come back and ask y'all how the rates went down. Sam Hanna up in North Louisiana. Well, guess what? I think about time for Sam to write an editorial and say I told you so, because he said they wouldn't go down.
And they've gone up.
The notion that you're going to reform something like insurance without reforming behavior is out of the question.
Yep.
It's just out of the question, and it's just not going to happen now. But I think Donelon did. But I think he looked at his polls and given this last stuff with the homeowner stuff and all.
Yep.
There's nothing. It's just nothing that he can. I think he's saying I can't do anything about it.
He told the Louisiana Radio Network that basically he doesn't want his running for re-election to be an issue in the coming legislative session when further insurance reforms are going to be debated.
Promoted.
And
I love when we got insurance reforms. I love that word, reform. Why is it that every time I hear the word reform, there's something about my pocketbook that starts hurting?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it's bad enough anyway. I mean, when somebody can go, when they're in the state and they move to Ohio, and they pay $300 less a month for car insurance, there's something bad wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? There's just something bad wrong with it.
Well, we get terrible drivers. I think we have a terrible driver's education system, and that's the root of it. Then we're just so litigious. You know, suing someone from a car accident is the new lottery in Louisiana.
Well, I don't know.
And it doesn't also help that the insurance companies don't want to ever pay a claim. They pay the claim at the force of a gun. Well, not literally the force of a gun, but you know.
Well, the hurricane claims are just, the homeowners claims are just. I mean, and this is what they say, and if you insure down here, you're going to have to pay claims whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because everybody had to go get lawyers to make them pay the claims. So if you're going to write down there, you got to pay them. Well, guess what? What have they decided? Well, we just won't write that. And if we do write, it'll be such an exorbitant amount of money that they have to pay, they can't afford it anyway.
Yep.
So
we've had like 20 leave the state over the last 2 years. Some of them went insolvent, and that's why. And some of them just said, "No, we're just not going to write any new policies. We're no longer doing business here."
That's it. And of course, you know, the climate people would say, "Well, that's because of global warming."
Yeah, that's what it is.
And the rise of the seas, by which nobody can show you where the rise of the seas occurred, but that's okay. It's Greta Van whatever.
Susteren?
No, the little.
Greta Thunberg.
Yes, Thunberg.
Thunberg.
She put out a text in 2018 or 2017 when she was 8. They said the world was that global warming was going to destroy the world by 2023, and of course that tweet has been pulled up, and apparently she took it off of her tweet thread, and you know, I think we're still here, Greta.
Yep.
Whatever your name, Gretchen or whatever it is.
Somebody needs to tell Al Gore that we've passed the point of no return about 4 times now.
Yeah, I mean, Al keeps preaching.
Look, I'm not a total skeptic. I believe in climate change, but I think that climate change has more to do with the Earth and the sun than it does with anybody's
and the moon and the stars and other things. But I like the notion that Biden made the point the other day that we have got to keep the world from going up 1.5 degrees. Joe, you're president, not God. You're not nature, Joe. It's going to handle itself. And by the way, even if we could, you might want to pick up the phone and call China and India and Brazil.
Ask them to get down with the program.
Yeah, I mean, because we're not causing it. They are. If there's anything to it. It's crazy. But anyway.
Well, with Jim Donelon, by the way, 78 years old.
Yeah, and
the man has he's dealt with cancer treatments. I mean, if he wants to stand down, God bless him.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm sorry, I know the man. We're not buds or anything. We don't go bowling, but I've known him for a few years, and he's a gentleman. He's a good fellow.
He's always been a gentleman. He really has. And I run a couple campaigns against him early in my career for lieutenant governor and for Congress. Beat him both times.
Really?
Yeah. Sued my agency for $4 million because one of the ads that I did kind of upset him a little bit. But the problem was I'd done my due diligence and I had newspaper articles about what I was saying, so it was okay.
Yep.
And so he kind of dropped that, but he got beat and dropped it. But Jim Donelon's been around. He's a venerable politician in the state. You remember one of the things that he's well known for is the two-lane scholarships for the legislators.
Yep.
He's had his ups and downs.
Yeah, it hasn't all been golden.
No, he's had his ups and downs.
But I mean, he marks a milestone as the first insurance commissioner in a long time to not get arrested while he was in office or shortly after leaving office.
And never even got interviewed by the FBI, which is pretty damn.
As far as I know,
pretty strong.
There's never been an allegation of criminal activity against insurance commissioner Jim Donelon. So.
No, and I got to tell you something. Given that office, that's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. Because, I mean, is Doug Green even out of jail yet?
I have no idea.
I know people don't even remember Doug Green, but I think maybe he's out. I don't know. It's a very sad story.
Yep. So we've had our problems with it. And if you don't think the insurance commissioner is important, I mean, pay attention to who's running.
Yep. Like nobody except Temple.
Tim Temple, and I have heard rumblings that Eric Skermetta, the Public Service Commission, may be interested
Ryan
in
Gaddy, but look, there's not like a line of people trying to get there. And speaking of line of people, we got a line of commercials to try to make
this
a little
guy.
bit.
He's turning into a broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen. Be right back.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
All right, once again, Fletch Nation is back with you. Thank you so much for watching. Well, we're still talking about state politics. Any new developments in the governor's race worth talking about this week?
Well, Wagensback got in. I think we discussed that last.
Actually, he didn't make. We discussed it presumed.
He hadn't announced it that time.
But then on Friday morning last week, he
finally announced.
Made it official.
And Stephen, he's a good guy, and liking, and the question it raises a lot of questions. His candidacy, not necessarily about him, but about the nature of the race. The question now becomes, here's some of the things that are sort of floating out there. Will Sean Wilson stay in the race?
What?
Yeah, because the argument is that maybe there would be some people that would want him out, and maybe not. My guess is he stays.
Who would want? I mean, I'm not asking you to name names, but I mean, to make room for another Democrat? Is that what you're saying? Or?
No. To make room for two Republicans in the runoff.
Oh, but why would a Democrat be influenced by that at all? Deal making.
Well, there may be some people that have the wherewithal to influence somebody like that.
I understand. Say no more. Say no more.
So the other one is that, if Sean don't have the money for turnout, and African American turnout drops precipitously, you could end up with two Republicans in the runoff. That seems to be. Let me kind of allay those fears. The National Democratic Party will fund this race. Period.
I agree.
They're going to fund this race. Joe Biden cannot in any way not allow this race to go by without making sure that money gets in. That's number one. So he's not going anywhere. But these are sort of the scenarios out there that people are talking.
That's wishful thinking, is what it is.
Well, I think it is wishful thinking. On the other hand, the Berlin Wall came down too. And I never thought I'd see that, and I saw it in 48 hours. So the fact is the question, or what this is all getting to is this, is that who makes the runoff, and what does Wagensback's influence in the race become? And I just was looking at a quick poll this morning that was published by Jeremy Alford's website.
LawPolitics.com.
Yeah, Law Politics, and his newsletter, of which you can get by going to LawPolitics.com. Yeah, I gave you a plug there, Jeremy. And the point is that the polls showed I think Landry first, I showed Sean first at 29, Landry 28, and then it had our Congress Carrot in the poll at 12, and then Schroeder and Hewitt at 3 and 4, or something like that, and Hunter Lundy at 3. All of them are negligible, but enough to. Well, the problem is that Wagensback's entry into the race. The question becomes, well, is that enough to is there a way for him to get there? And 20% of the white vote in Louisiana is undecided, and about 30% African American vote. I don't think it's really undecided. I just don't think they know yet who the Democrat is. But the point of it is about 20% of the white vote. So if you take Garrett's 12 and you add a little number here and there and you play a game with yourself, maybe there is a way for Wagensback to come up, so to speak, come up the middle. And that gives people a lot of indigestion because, I'm sorry, that's a client. Huh? Okay.
See, that's potential money right there. He probably should have taken it when we were rolling.
No. So it'll all be good. It's all good. But to any extent, that is a situation where that's what's been caused by this, is that Wagensback's candidacy. The question it raises, is there any middle to go up to get to a runoff? And here's the great thing about it, the way I see it, is that people in Louisiana are used to thinking left, right, middle, black vote, far right vote, whatever. Mm-hmm. And nobody's looking about, well, gee, what if you did this and this and this, and you put a piece together, and you create your own kind of constituency campaign. And the truth is, there's not a lot of money for that. Yeah. But there is ways for Wagensback to come, as they say, up the middle. I think it's difficult, though.
I think Wagensback's message, having interviewed him twice about this now, I think that his message is a good message because...
And what is that message?
Well, his message is, let's run Louisiana like a business, which you've heard this before, but it's, we're getting, touchy-feely from one side and we're getting weird ideology from the other side. And it's like, to me, it's like, are libraries Louisiana's big issue right now? Is it the problem? Is the hill we need to die on?
That's
theatrical affair, theatrical matters.
That is one of the problems the Landry campaign faces. But the truth is that, not the truth. My opinion is, and it's certainly not the truth. But my opinion is that running Louisiana like a business sounds very old.
Yeah.
It's very, very lobby. It's very kind of stale. And I don't think that the mood of Louisiana is in a place where, as it relates to economic issues,
just to clarify, by the way, that's my words, not his.
Okay.
Running Louisiana.
Okay. But that's kind of the language, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I characterized it right. It's kind of the same stuff you've heard. It's kind of lobby, and it's kind of stale.
But
is that a fair assessment?
I think that's a fair assessment, but I also think that maybe voters would like somebody that did a little more plain talk and a little less theatrics.
I don't have a problem with that, but here's what I think. Where the voters are, is that, look, we can see, we're not dumb. We see what's going on in the world. This state is standing still, and meaning it's falling more and more and more behind. The question becomes, what do they want? Do they want the incremental change that running it like a business and so on and so forth gives it? Or do they want dramatic and fundamental change in the state government and in the state economic system? I think that Louisiana people are telling their politicians, I really don't want to talk about all of this malarkey. What I want you to do is go do something, and do it big and do it bold and be something.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask this question of Roy, and I'll let you think about it too. We know who is declared for governor. Who's actually going to show up and qualify in August?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Come right back.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Hey, we're back with Fletch Nation. In our last few minutes of the show, as I teased right before the commercial, Roy, I want to ask you, let's just go down the list real quick. Among the Republicans, we got Attorney General Jeff Landry. We have State Treasurer John Schroeder. We have State Representative Richard Nelson. We have State Senator Sharon Hewitt. And
that's it.
And well, Republicans now Stephen Waguespack.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry. There is a 6th Republican, but he's not a known political figure, and I mean him no disrespect, but I cannot remember his name. I beg your pardon, sir, whoever you are. But let's just talk about the Republicans for a minute. That's all those declared candidates. Who will actually show up of those 5 and qualify for this race?
I don't think Hewitt will. I don't think there's no room for Hewitt. Where's she gonna go? I think that the John Schroeder thing will depend on how well he is able to flesh out his campaign over the next 3-4 months, whether or not he will qualify. Nelson, if Nelson's going to run, Nelson better write himself a big fat check. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that can even help him. So you might only see 2 Republicans in the end. You may only see 2 Republicans, Waguespack and Landry.
Really?
Yeah. By the way,
my gut tells me 3 because I think that John Schroeder is into till the vote is counted.
I think Schroeder's an iffy. My guess would be in the end he'll probably go, but the fact is I think that he's got to go now. Okay?
Okay.
And he's got to have a campaign well in place and working and doing things and start moving poll numbers. That's the real pressure on him. If it's only 2, then that makes the potential for a Stephen Wagensback coming up the middle much greater. It gives him hope. Okay, that's that. On the other hand, he's got to have a lot of things happen good for him in order for that. So it could be 2, probably 3. I kind of agree with you.
Fair enough.
I think Schroeder can move.
Before the end of the show, you got anything new on J6? I mean, that's been a little bit quiet the last few days.
It's been quiet except late last week. And what's the name of that group? The Proud Boys or something?
Yeah, the Proud Boys.
They're being prosecuted right now. They're in trial. And what comes stumbling out in the trial was a number of emails that implicated between FBI agents that implicated. There was a lot of evidence. A lot of fooling with evidence.
Really?
Yeah, and things like that. That thing, they stopped the trial. I don't know where they are right now. There was a lot of bias with respect to these guys. There's a lot going on there, and I think it's worth watching to see. And given the nature now of how circumspect people have become to a great extent due to the tapes being released, and Tucker Carlson's reporting on tapes and showing the tape, I think that the FBI and the Department of Justice in that trial are under all of those trials now under great scrutiny, and the judges themselves. Yeah, I think they are.
I think you're going to see the American people start to turn on this thing as more and more things become apparently BS, and more American people are going to get the feeling that we are lied to about this and about that and about this and about that.
Here's the thing, is that the question is, were there crimes committed when people went into the Capitol? Absolutely. They were not supposed to be there. But then the intervening piece of evidence is, yeah, but the guard said, come on. Then, so if that's the crime, well then all you had to do was just take these people and in mass sort of go, here's what you got to do, 6 months home incarceration, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they left them in jail. They put them in jail and kept them there
some were still in jail.
A bunch of them are for illegally entering a public building.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell you call it. Hey, come on, that's way too horrendous. And you saw them; they're all standing in queues, and they're old, and they're having a sightseeing tour. I mean, there's some crazies out front, and the crazies need to.
There are crazies climbing up the side of the building and all that good stuff.
Those need to be busted. But the QAnon shaman, come on, man, get out of here.
The guy got a guided tour.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
He got a guided tour.
That's ridiculous. So that now there's some other things in Washington quite interesting. That is kind of sub rosa. It's not being covered by the national press because they're not going to cover it. Mm-hmm. They're not going to cover it. But James Comer, the head of the Oversight Committee, was on TV this weekend talking about they're finally going to get these bank things that the alerts that about money coming into accounts from overseas, and a lot of money, mm-hmm. and they alert. Well, they're finally going to get the 50 or 49 that the Biden family have received.
Ooh. And
from the Department, from Treasury. And they have done some other, apparently Comer is a rep from Kentucky. The whole country kind of, but he's pretty tough. And he said that there are other names now that have been that have come up in this investigation. They all happen to be Biden's, and they're going into that as well. And he was very restrained in his statements, but it appears that there is things there that need to be explained by the president and his family. Serious things, big money. And it's coming out of China. It's coming from business people that are closely related to the CCP, so on and so forth. And whether or not it's a crime, whether or not there's criminal activity, I think there's an explanation that's going to be due pretty shortly.
You're going to see a congressional witch hunt for the President of the United States?
No. Did you say again?
Yeah, again. A second? Wait a minute. No, a third congressional witch hunt for the president?
Maybe a fourth, who knows? But the fact is, it'll be the first for one party.
Yeah.
But the fact is that that has implications. I don't know where it's going. Won't say we got him this time. Like they did
we
Trump.
We got you now.
Well, like they did Trump. Now, speaking of Trump went to Iowa last week. They had a little venue. They didn't really talk about it much. He just showed up at this venue they were going to have. It had about 2,500 seat capacity in some little rural town in Iowa. It was packed. There were lines out the door for maybe an hour, people wanting to get in, people listening on outside. They were all over the place. And it reminded me of something. They cussed him. They call him names. They impeach him twice. They say he's politically dead. They do all of that. And the guy still...
A record crowd show up to see him.
A record crowd show up to see him, and he's still, by far, the top candidate in the Republican Party.
And still, in a lot of people's eyes, the de facto head of the Republican Party.
Yes. And it just shows you, and I find out, it seems to me, this is interesting, I'll just go off on a little something real quick, a tangent, before we end the show. If you take the Louisiana gubernatorial primary, and it's Stephen Wagensback and Jeff Landry. Landry's sort of the Trump wing of the party, and Wagensback is sort of the establishment. We don't like those people. Wing of the party. That's kind of what you're talking about here in a very, very interesting way.
Think about that, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.
Thank you. Done.
You've been listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.